Hello my fellow watchers, in this video I'm gonna be giving you decks which are just dominating in the game right now. Whether you are a free-to-play player or you spend money in the game, I'll be showing you both side decks so everyone can have fun with their own unique decks and dominate through the arena one like it was a piece of cake. I would like to talk about one of the most broken heroes and all of that at the end because most players will be free to play, and I'll be showing you a few great free to play heroes and deck. So as for heroes, I would consider Deirdre and Brawl are the best heroes in the game right now, which are non-legendary or epic. Deirdre is my favorite hero in the game. I have reached Colosseum just with her, and it's just insane how stable and balanced she is. I really enjoy using her, but let's get to the first deck. Let's start off with the most simple deck. In the starting of the game, you won't be able to get yourself a lot of great towers, and just because of that reason, I'm gonna list a few of the towers which are really good just right off the bat of the game. I would start off with artillery, which will be the best tower or artillery form you can use because of the stun it has. It may be a little bit costly, but I would consider the cost is pretty much great with the amount of damage it deals with the AoE damage. It's pretty great. Most lacking part tower in the game right now is barracks, so paladins are the worst choices for you. Rather use barbarians. Barbarians are way much more better. They can tank, a lot much more similar to a paladin, but not only that, they deal damage, they can even hit flyers, and with their ability you can even attack few of the opponent enemies, which can get you a lot of advantage in final few waves. I would consider. With it, I would also say the archer tower, the normal archer tower, is really good in the game. So having these three towers as fast as possible in your deck would be the best case scenario you can actually think of it, because Archer Tower is pretty great with the abilities it has with the raining arrows, even the snipe shot which they use, which deals pretty great amount of damage comparing to the amount of cost it has. As for the starting heroes, Gerald is pretty nice. If you cannot find any other heroes, you can actually rely on Gerald for a pretty long time, and he can do a pretty great job playing as a starter hero, I would consider. And even Illyria is way much better than Gerald, putting that in the hot topic side for you guys. But Illyria is pretty great. She got nerfed in the past, but she's still better. She's still great at the game, and that makes her pretty much awesome to use. So as for starting heroes, you can rather have any of these depending on what style you like to play with, and depending on that you can build a starter deck. As for mage, you can have any mage. If you can unlock Arcane, which is unlocked lot much more above, I would consider best mage tower in the game after coming up with Necromancer. But as you cannot unlock all of those epic cards right off the bat, having a deck like this would make a lot of sense and will help you out a lot in actually progressing through a little bit of part. And Aegon is also a new hero, a tank hero to be honest. He deals great amount of damage. Not only that, he can just stall a complete lane in Arena 1 for first few maps like it was nothing, and the opponent you will be facing can be bot, so that just can be really good against players who like to play aggressive. As for Rangers, Rangers are the worst tower in the game at the moment. I'm very sad to say this, but that is the truth. They are pretty weak in the game at the moment, but I will hope that they get a buff in future. But for now, they are the worst towers to use at the moment, so I would consider you should avoid using them and use normal archers if it's possible, because they are not much more better and consistent to use. As for spells, Rain of Fire, that's a straight up ability which you will keep it till the end of the game at the moment. They're the best spells in the game right now with the thunder lightning, I would consider, and which you unlock a lot much more further in the arenas. But as for starter, Rain of Fire is the best one to use, and with it reinforcements can help you out a ton. As for an opponent who would be using Archer's sniping ability, you might be able to tank those attacks out and save your hero. If it's not squishy like Illyria, you might be able to survive the game. And as for third, I would tell you go for anything you like. You can rather go for teleport or you can go for stun. Stun with artillery is the best thing to do, as you can just stun for your enemies, just let the artillery do the damage, and then try to just clump up all the enemies and use Rain of Fire on it and just do massive amount of damage. But that's just a thing I personally like to do, as that's very much efficient. Same goes for teleport ability. You can also use that teleport ability to just get all of the enemies clumped up at a certain location, and then you can just mass destruct them with Rain of Fire, and that's actually really satisfying to do in early stages, and it works out pretty much everywhere, I will be honest. So as now you understand mostly everything about the decks and the cards, now let's take a look actual decks which work in the game. This deck with Dorp can just fit into the entire arena very much well enough, but at the same time I will tell you, if you don't have Dorp unlocked, you can rather rely on normal artillery. Normal artillery is very much fine, I would consider. The only thing you will need to take a look onto is the stun ability, which is the most important ability for artillery. The base artillery tower, I would consider. Dorp is just too much good for the AoE, just by the fact it deals a lot of damage, slows down enemies, is even helpful in the boss fights, and can just block towers, and that is one of the most fun strategies, to just completely block towers of opponent, which is kind of annoying, I would consider. But if you think about it, you cannot just use Dorp at the first wave and just keep on upgrading it, because there can be flying attacks too, and which will make you go through a lot of lack of gold. So strategy comes in, you have to use them as per the situations. To be more honest, there's not much more variety in decks at the moment. You can use Growl if you prefer ground damage more, and with Growl you will need to take a look that the both lanes are being managed very well, because Growl is pretty slow and cannot hit flyer enemies. So flyer enemies is going to be a major threat, and you will need to take precautions according to that. And that is the reason why I normally don't like using Growl. I would consider in ground damage and ground tanking, he's the best in the game, and probably the best ground unit in the game at the moment. So you can use him and put him in your deck if you prefer to use Growl. Personal favorite hero, she's a support damage dealer hero, I would consider. She can hit flyers, she can even boost tower damage, which is actually really good. So every starting of a wave, you just have to micro her to a perfect location from which you can boost tower damage of many other towers. And normally I would consider, when your barracks are tanking for something, you would probably want to Deirdre near them, because she can heal them for once, as the barracks don't have automatic healing abilities, so they just don't heal if they were damaged. They have to die, then only they will be fully re-healed, I would consider. So that's something which you should know about the game if you didn't know about it. So with that, Deirdre is very much support and micro-efficient hero compared to Growl. Growl can be very much less micro-efficient. You just keep him in one lane, or even just micro him a lot much more less around the map. So if you don't like to do micro transitions, just use Growl, I would consider, with a good deck like this. And if you prefer to use Deirdre like me, you can use this deck. As for the bosses are pretty much simple. They're not that hard to deal with. The main thing you must remember is the timing. The timing of the spells you're using matters a lot in the late game, because it just changes a lot how enemies come in. Pretty much more longer compared to the previous ones, so you have to take a note of that, and even try to remember the wave composition which is coming up and what opponent has picked as the boosters. According to that, you have to just try to counter them. There was a lot much more rework to be done with the boosters, I would consider, in the future, but for now this is how boosters work. So we will have to try to gamble a little bit. And let's be honest, at the end I would consider for those who are just paying and getting new heroes and towers, Dope is just gonna be perfect in your deck. Not only that, once you have Ashbite, it's just peak cinema. And I'll be honest, Ashbite is broken, but I will tell you this, if it's in the hand of someone who doesn't know how to micro transition him, you can defeat a person with Ashbite a lot much more easily. Hear me out. Archer Tower sniper ability, which will deal pretty great amount of damage. But not only that, you can also use flying boosters. Use the enemies which are flying and send them in the way of the opponent, like a dragon or even the flying golems, as Ashbite won't be easily able to attack those enemies, and as for dragon, it can attack Ashbite, which will help you out a lot. And for the person who's using Ashbite, you will not be able to take a look into ground tank or even ground control, so you will have to take massive note of dealing AoE damage and killing enemies on the ground as soon as possible, because there is no ground support, so all you have is barracks. As for Ashbite's ability, which she attacks, just cheese it out by just using a barrack right at the end of the entire map and separated from all other heroes and towers. Ashbite will probably have a chance to just attack that and waste its ability, which will get you a lot of troubles saved. And if you're using Ashbite, just micro transition him at the places where you make him attack on both lanes. You will need to do it as per the situations, I will be honest, but you just need to understand that he requires micro a lot, and if you're not gonna micro him, you're gonna face difficulties with him because he's not that easy to use. Even though he might have broken abilities, he's still cheesable. Only if you know how to cheese him. A person like me can cheese him, but most people won't be able to do it unless they know about this. With it, I would also like to mention Holy Sanctuary, which is a support tower. If you're a free-to-play player, I would consider, if you're using anything like Aegeon or Grawl, make sure you use this tower above Mage. You can use Mage if you want to, problems with that, but I would prefer for you to be using that tower, as that tower is more supportive. Mage can be pretty much helpful. You can make the match go up to the final boss fight. You can actually just put a lot of troubles for the opponent too. Magic resistance ability. So yeah, that's another strat, but for you to know before you do it. And as for Ashbite users, use this deck. So these were all of the decks for Arena 1, which I would consider you should use. By far, you use any of these decks, you push here and there, you'll be able to complete the entire arena by that time. And as for a few of the boosters which are really great, power damage boost is one of the best ones I would consider. The dragon is really great. Same goes for the spider booster, and there is spell cooldown too, and gold one. All of these are pretty great to use, and I would consider you should consider using them. And when it comes to the one which turns towers into a hut, which deals a very minor amount of damage, basically no damage, you can use it whether you're dope or anything else. You can just use it here for fun and just get it 1 tier, because I don't think getting more tiers of it is really much helpful unless you're trying to max it out. So that was my entire guide for Arena 1, and if you have any questions, just drop them in the comment section down below. I'll try my best to answer those. Stay tuned for it. I will love to share my personal guides on the game. Until then, for more Kingdom Rush Battles videos, subscribe, stay tuned. Until there, keep on rushing.